guys, Miss Sandlin again. Okay, so I've sat here. Today's Monday, like actually Monday, but this video is going up Thursday. But I've sat here and just read the Titan's Curse because we're getting to the good stuff now, and you guys aren't gonna see it any sooner, but I'm gonna see it sooner, so I'm just still reading. Might as well read for you guys. So this chapter is really good. We last left off. Talia and Percy are leading the Camp Half-Blood team of the scavenger hunt. The hunters are the opposing team. Bianca's on that side, obviously. Nico's on Percy's team. And, you know, typical Beckendorf, Stoll Brothers, all the other cabin campers we're familiar with, except for Clarice, who we found out is missing. And no one seems that worried about it. Percy seems more worried than anybody else, and they hate each other. So, and that's basically where we're at. So we'll see how this Capture the Flag game goes. It seems like every time Percy plays Capture the Flag, something crazy happens. So we'll see what happens in this one. Alright. So we set our flag at the top of Zeus's fist. It's this cluster of boulders in the middle of the West Woods that if you look at it just the right way, it looks like a huge fist sticking out of the ground. If you look at it from any other side, it looks like just a pile of enormous deer droppings, but Chiron wouldn't let us call the place Poop Pile, especially after it had been named for Zeus, who doesn't have much of a sense of humor. Anyway, it was a good place to set the flag. The top boulder was 20 feet tall and really hard to climb, so the flag was clearly visible, like the rules said it had to be, and it didn't matter that the guards weren't allowed to stand within 10 yards of it. I set Nico on guard duty with Beckendorf and the Stoll brothers, figuring he'd be safely out of the way. We'll sound out a decoy to the left, Talia told the team. Selena, you lead that. Got it. Take Laurel and Jason. They're good runners. Make a wide arc around the hunters. Attract as many as you can. I'll take the main raiding party around to the right and catch them by surprise. Everybody nodded. It sounded good, and Talia said it with such confidence you couldn't help but believe it would work. Talia looked at me. Anything to add, Percy? Yeah, keep sharp on defense. We've got 4 guards, 2 scouts. That's not much for a big forest. I'll be roving. Yell if you need help. And don't leave your post, Talia said. Unless you see a golden opportunity, I added. Talia scowled. Just don't leave your post. Right, unless... Percy! She touched my arm and shocked me. I mean, everybody can give static shocks in the winter, but when Talia does, it hurts. I guess it's because her dad is the god of lightning. She's been known to fry off people's eyebrows. Sorry, Talia said, though she didn't sound very sorry. Now, is everybody clear? Everybody nodded. We broke into our smaller groups, and the horn sounded, and the game began. Selena's group disappeared into the woods on the left. Talia's group gave it a few seconds, then darted off toward the right. I waited for something to happen. I climbed Zeus's fist and had a good view of the forest. I remembered how the hunters had stormed out of the woods when they fought the manticore, and I was prepared for something like that. One huge charge that would overwhelm us. But nothing happened. I caught a glimpse of Selena and her 2 scouts. They ran through a clearing followed by 5 of the hunters, leading them deep into the woods and away from Talia. The plan seemed to be working. Then I spotted another clump of hunters heading to the right, bows ready. They must have spotted Talia. Hey, what's happening? Nico demanded, trying to climb up next to me. My mind was racing. Talia would never get through, but the hunters were divided. With that many on either flank, their center had to be wide open. If I moved fast... I looked at Beckendorf. Can you guys hold the fort? Beckendorf snorted. Of course. I'm going in. The Stoll brothers and Nico cheered as I raced toward the boundary line. I was running at top speed and I felt great. I leaped over the creek into enemy territory. I could see their silver flag up ahead. Only 1 guard, who wasn't even looking in my direction. I heard fighting to my left and right, somewhere in the woods. I had made it. The guard turned to the last minute. It was Bianca D'Angelo. Her eyes widened as I slammed into her, and she went sprawling in the snow. Sorry, I yelled. I ripped down the silver silk flag from the tree and took off. I was 10 yards away before Bianca managed to yell for help. I thought I was home free. Zip! A silvery cord raced across my ankles and fastened to the tree next to me. A tripwire fired from a bow. Before I could even think about stopping, I went down hard, sprawling in the snow. Percy! Talia yelled off to my left. What are you doing? And before she reached me, an arrow exploded at her feet and a cloud of yellow smoke billowed around her team. They started coughing and gagging. I could smell the gas from across the woods, the horrible smell of sulfur. No fair, Talia gasped. Fart arrows are unsportsmanlike. I got up and started running again. Only a few more yards to the creek and I had the game. More arrows whizzed past my ears. A hunter came out of nowhere and slashed at me with her knife, but I parried and kept running. I heard yelling from our side of the creek. Beckendorf and Nico were running toward me. I thought they were coming to welcome me back, but then I saw they were chasing someone. Zoe Nightshade, racing toward me like a cheetah, dodging campers with no trouble. And she had our flag in her hands. No! I yelled, and poured on the speed. I was 2 feet from the water when Zoe bolted across to her own side, slamming into me for good measure. The hunters cheered as both sides converged on the creek. Kyron appeared out of the woods looking grim. He had the Stoll brothers on his back, and it looked as if both of them had taken some nasty whacks to the head. Connor Stoll had 2 arrows sticking out of his helmet like antennae. The hunters win, Kyron announced without pleasure. Then he muttered, for the 56th time in a row. Percy Jackson, Talia yelled, storming toward me. She smelled like rotten eggs, and she was so mad the blue sparks flickered in her armor. Everybody cringed and backed up because of Aegis. It took all my willpower not to cower. What in the name of the gods were you thinking? She bellowed. I balled my fists. I'd had enough bad stuff happen to me for one day. I didn't need this. I got the flag, Talia. I shook it in her face. I saw a chance, and I took it. I was at their base, Talia yelled. But the flag was gone. If you hadn't butted in, we would have won. You had too many on you. Oh, so it's my fault. I didn't say that, Talia. Ugh! And Talia pushed me, and a shock went through my body that blew me backward 10 feet into the water. Some of the campers gasped. A couple of the hunters stifled laughs. Sorry, Talia said, turning pale. I didn't mean to. An anger roared in my ears. A wave erupted from the creek, blasting into Talia's face, dousing her from head to toe. I stood up. Yeah, I growled. I didn't mean to either. Talia was breathing heavily. Enough, Kyron ordered. But Talia held out her spear. You want some, seaweed brain? Somehow it was okay when Annabeth called me that. At least I got used to it. But hearing it from Talia was not cool. Bring it on, pinecone face. I raised Riptide, but before I could even defend myself, Talia yelled, and a blast of lightning came down from the sky, hit her spear like a lightning rod, and slammed into my chest. I sat down hard. There was a burning smell. I had a feeling it was my clothes. Talia, Kyron said, that is enough. I got to my feet and willed the entire creek to rise. It swirled up hundreds of gallons of water in a massive icy funnel cloud. Percy, Kyron pleaded. I was about to hurl it at Talia when I saw something in the woods. I lost my anger and my concentration all at once. The water splashed back into the creek bed. Talia was so surprised she turned to see what I was looking at too. Something was approaching. It was shrouded in a murky green mist, but as it got closer, the campers and hunters gasped. This is impossible, Kyron said. I never heard him sound so nervous. She's never left the attic, never. And yet the withered mummy that held the oracle shuffled forward until she stood in the center of the group. Mist curled around our feet, turning the snow a sickly shade of green. None of us dared move. Then her voice hissed inside my head. Apparently everyone could hear it, because several clutched their hands over their ears. I am the spirit of Delphi, the voice said. Speaker of the prophecies of Phoebus Apollo, slayer of the mighty Python. The oracle regarded me with its cold, dead eyes. Then she turned unmistakably toward Zoe Nightshade. Approach, seeker, and ask. Zoe swallowed. What must I do to help my goddess? The oracle's mouth opened and green mist poured out. I saw the vague image of a mountain and a girl standing at the barren peak. It was Artemis, but she was wrapped in chains, fettered to the rocks. She was kneeling, her hands raised as if to fend off an attacker, and it looked like she was in pain. Then the oracle spoke. 5 shall go west to the goddess in chains. One shall be lost in the land without rain. The bane of Olympus shows the trail. Campers and hunters combined prevail. The Titan's curse must one withstand, and one shall perish by a parent's hand. Then as we were watching, the mist swirled and retreated, like a green serpent, into the mummy's mouth. The oracle sat down on a rock and became as still as she'd been in the attic, as if she might sit by this creek for 100 more years. Whew. That's the end of chapter 6. Alright, I'm going to read a couple more pages into chapter 7 just so we can see what's going to happen next. So I'm going to read the prophecy one more time. 5 shall go west to the goddess in chains. So it sounds like 5 people are going to go rescue Artemis. 1 shall be lost in the land without rain. Don't know what that means. The bane of Olympus shows the trail. What is the bane of Olympus? Campers and hunters combined prevail. Now that's going to be a stressful party. Hunters and campers hate each other. The Titan's curse must one withstand, and one shall perish by a parent's hand. So it sounds like an Olympian is going to kill their child somehow. We don't know who or what or when, but that's what I'm thinking. Chapter 7 is called Everybody Hates Me Except the Horse. The least the oracle could have done was walk back to the attic by herself. Instead, Grover and I were elected to carry her. I didn't figure that was because we were the most popular. Watch your head, Grover warned as we went up the stairs, but it was too late. Bonk. I whacked her mummified face against the trapdoor frame and dust flew everywhere. Ah, man. I set her down and checked for damage. Did I break anything? I can't tell, Grover admitted. We hauled her up and set her on the tripod stool, both of us huffing and sweating. Who knew a mummy could weigh so much? I assumed she wouldn't talk to me, and I was right. I was relieved when we finally got out of there and slammed the attic door shut. Well, Grover said, that was gross. I knew he was trying to keep things light for my sake, but I still felt really down. The whole camp would be mad at me for losing the game to the hunters, and then there was the new prophecy from the oracle. It was like the spirit of Delphi had gone out of her way to exclude me. She'd ignored my question and walked half a mile to talk to Zoe. And she'd said nothing, not even a hint, about Annabeth. What will Chiron do? I asked Grover. I wish I knew, Percy. He looked wistfully out the second floor window at the rolling hills covered in snow. I want to be out there. Searching for Annabeth? He had a little trouble focusing on me, then he blushed. Oh, right, that too, of course. Why? I asked. What were you thinking? He clapped his hooves uneasily. Just something the manticore said about the great stirring. I can't help but wonder if all those ancient powers are waking up. Maybe not all of them are evil. You mean Pan? I felt kind of selfish because I'd totally forgotten about Grover's life ambition. The nature god had gone missing 2,000 years ago. He was rumored to have died, but the satyrs didn't believe that. They were determined to find him. They had been searching in vain for centuries, and Grover was convinced he'd be the one to succeed. This year, with Chiron putting all the satyrs on emergency duty to find half-bloods, Grover hadn't been able to continue his search at all. It must have been driving him nuts. I've let the trail go cold, he said. I feel restless, like I'm missing something really important. He's out there somewhere. I can just feel it. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to encourage him, but I didn't know how. My optimism had pretty much been trampled into the snow out there in the woods, along with our capture the flag hopes. Before I could respond, Talia tromped up the stairs. She was officially not talking to me now, but she looked at Grover and said, Tell Percy to get his butt downstairs. Why? I asked. Did he say something? Talia asked Grover. He asked why. Dionysus is calling a council of cabin leaders to discuss the prophecy, she said. Unfortunately, that includes Percy by default. And that's where we'll stop. So we'll see what they come up with. What kind of plan to do with the prophecy. Sounds like there needs to be hunters and campers combined Talia is mad at Percy, and, well, tensions are high. I'm hoping that they'll make up, because the Zeus and Poseidon kid combo could be pretty killer, but not if they're at each other's throats. Alright guys, don't forget to check back in every day onto our 5th grade BIS channel, and like these videos, comment if you got stuff to say, questions to ask, anything like that. And don't forget to hit that bell. See you guys tomorrow.